There are words that open doors, and then there are names that open worlds. Across every ancient civilization, from Egypt to Mesopotamia, from Kabbalistic scrolls to Vedic hymns, one mystery has echoed through time: the power hidden within sacred names. Words that were not simply spoken, but vibrated, uttered with intention so pure that they could shape reality itself. Imagine a single sound, a whisper of divine resonance, that could command the elements, invoke celestial beings, or dissolve the illusions of matter. The ancients believed such names existed, and they guarded them with their lives. These weren't names in the ordinary sense. They weren't labels or titles. They were keys, linguistic codes aligned with the geometry of creation itself. To speak them was to awaken the same force that brought the cosmos into being. But over centuries, this knowledge was fractured, hidden beneath layers of symbolism, religion, and language. The word of power became myth, and yet it survived, encrypted in mantras, divine invocations, angelic sigils, and the mysterious Tetragrammaton, the unutterable name of God itself. In this video, we will journey into the mystical science of sacred names. We'll explore how ancient mystics understood the creative vibration of sound, how entire worlds were said to arise from divine utterance, and why the true pronunciation of certain names was forbidden to all but the initiated. You will learn why the name was never just sound. It was consciousness in motion. Why to speak a sacred name is to become it. So listen closely, because what follows is not mere information. It is a remembrance, a return to a truth your soul already knows, that every vibration, every word, every name carries the blueprint of creation itself. And perhaps, the greatest secret of all, is that the most sacred name has always been hidden within you. To understand the true power of sacred names, we must return far beyond the boundaries of modern religion, to the dawn of human consciousness itself. In ancient Egypt, words were not mere communication. They were acts of creation. The god Thoth, patron of wisdom and magic, was said to have spoken the universe into being through divine utterance, a concept mirrored in the Hermetic principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. To name something, then, was to bind it to existence. The Egyptians called this sacred speech Heka, the very essence of magic. A priest who knew the true name of a deity could invoke its power directly, bridging the mortal and divine realms. The utterance was not symbolic. It was performative, a creative act of divine resonance. Across the desert, the Hebrews preserved a parallel truth. In the Kabbalistic tradition, the name of God, the Tetragrammaton, the four-lettered YHWH, was never spoken aloud. Its pronunciation was lost or hidden intentionally, for the ancients believed that to speak the divine name without purity of heart could shatter the veil between worlds. It was a sound of such immense creative vibration that even angels were said to tremble before it. Further east, the Vedic seers of India described the same mystery through Nada Brahma. The universe is sound. The sacred syllable Om, known as the Pranava mantra, was considered the primordial vibration from which all existence unfolded. Chanting it aligned one's being with the cosmic rhythm, a living echo of the sound that birthed galaxies. In the ancient Sumerian and Chaldean temples, priests preserved long invocations of the gods, Enki, Inanna, Anu, each name carrying specific frequency patterns. These names weren't chosen arbitrarily. They were designed as vibrational keys to access higher planes of consciousness. And so, across continents and millennia, a shared truth emerged. The spoken name is not merely language, it is geometry in motion, the audible form of light. Even philosophers like Plato hinted at this in his dialogue Cratylus, suggesting that words possess a natural connection to the essence of what they describe. Later, the Gnostics took this further, teaching that hidden within the divine names were codes, sound frequencies capable of awakening the sleeping spark of divinity within humanity. But why was this knowledge buried, censored, or forgotten? Perhaps because true power lies not in dominion over others, but in mastery over vibration itself. For to know the name of something was to know its essence, and to know the essence of reality was to touch the mind of God. The ancient sages knew, he who understands vibration controls manifestation. He who understands the sacred name commands reality. Yet this was not meant for the unready. And so, the knowledge of sacred names, divine sound codes, mantras, and invocations was passed only to initiates, whispered in temples, encoded in scripture, and hidden behind allegory. Now, millennia later, we can begin to piece together what was once lost and rediscover the mystery that sound, name, and creation are not separate, but one. To truly grasp the mystery of sacred names, we must step beyond the idea of language as communication and see it as creation itself. Every name, every word, every syllable is a vibration, and vibration, when aligned with consciousness, becomes a tool of divine manifestation. In the esoteric traditions of both East and West, sound is not a byproduct of reality, it is its architect. The Haibadya. Ancient sages saw the universe not as a solid structure, but as a living symphony of frequencies. Each frequency held its own form, its own pattern, its own consciousness. Thus, the name of a thing was its vibrational signature, its unique resonance within the grand cosmic orchestra. Imagine for a moment that the universe is an infinite instrument, every being, object, and element a string upon it. To speak a name is to pluck that string, to awaken its sound and therefore its power. When the ancients spoke of knowing the true name of something, a spirit, a star, even a god, they weren't talking about mere identification. They meant resonating with its fundamental frequency, aligning one's consciousness with that energy until speaker and subject became one. This is why initiates of old underwent long periods of purification before learning or uttering sacred names. Their bodies and minds had to be tuned, just as a harp must be tuned before playing a divine note. The wrong vibration could create chaos. The right one could open heavens. The Hermetic philosophers understood this. They taught that the human voice, infused with intention, is an extension of divine will. As above, so below, they said, meaning that every vibration in the microcosm, the human being, reflects and influences the macrocosm, the universe. When you pronounce a sacred name with awareness, breath, and alignment, you are not calling upon power. You are activating it within yourself. This is the great secret of invocation. It is not a plea. It is participation. When the Egyptians invoked Ra, they didn't beg for his light. They became the light. When the mystic whispered Om, they weren't merely chanting. They were attuning themselves to the primal vibration of existence. When the Kabbalist meditated on the sacred letters of Yod-He-Vav-He, they weren't naming God. They were reconstructing the divine current within their own soul. Every true sacred name operates through three principles: vibration, the physical resonance of sound waves; intention, the directed focus of consciousness; alignment, the harmony between one's inner state and the cosmic frequency invoked. Without alignment, a name is just sound. With alignment, it becomes a portal. Even modern science echoes fragments of this wisdom. The field of cymatics shows that sound waves can form geometric patterns in matter, patterns strikingly similar to ancient mandalas and sigils. This is not coincidence. The ancients already knew what physicists now rediscover, that sound shapes matter and consciousness shapes sound. And so, when we speak or chant sacred names, we are not just using words. We are reconfiguring the geometry of reality itself. The voice becomes a wand, the breath becomes the current, and the name becomes the key that unlocks hidden doors of perception. But the ancients also warned, there are true names, and there are reflections of names. Knowing a symbol or pronunciation alone is, not enough. The real power lies in the awakened state of being that becomes one with the sound. The question, then, is not what the sacred name is, but who is speaking it. There is a reason why the ancients whispered the sacred names rather than shouted them. They understood something most of us have forgotten, that these names are alive. Each one is not merely a word, but a living current of intelligence, a vibrational entity that bridges the human and the divine. When mystics spoke of calling upon angels, they did not imagine winged beings descending from clouds. They were invoking frequencies, pure, radiant intelligences woven into the architecture of the universe. In this sense, an angel is not a figure with form, but a resonance of divine law, a conscious vibration that holds a specific quality of the Creator. To utter the true name of such a being was not to summon it like a servant, but to tune oneself to its celestial frequency. The moment alignment occurred, communication was instantaneous, not through language, but through vibration, through knowing. This is why sacred names appear in so many forms, the Hebrew names of angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, each ending with El, meaning of God. The Sanskrit mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, Gayatri, Soham, each aligning consciousness with divine archetypes. The Egyptian invocations of Ra, Isis, Thoth, each name representing a facet of cosmic principle rather than a singular deity. Behind every name lies an encoded frequency, a mathematical harmony between sound and spirit. In the esoteric sciences, this harmony was called the music of the spheres, the great celestial song that underlies creation. Pythagoras taught that the entire universe vibrates in musical proportion, and that by understanding these harmonies, the soul could ascend to divine consciousness. This is why sacred names were considered keys to planes of existence. Each vibrational name opened a gate within the initiate's own energy field, awakening dormant centers of awareness, aligning the subtle body with cosmic order. To speak the name of an archangel was to awaken that same angelic light within the self. To chant the name of a deity was to mirror its divine quality in one's consciousness. But as humanity drifted from the ancient ways, this knowledge became fragmented. Religion turned mystery into dogma, invocation into recitation. The sacred became ritual without resonance. The name became empty sound. Yet the truth remains. These names were never meant to be worshipped. They were meant to be remembered. They are fragments of the original sound of creation, the divine language the Gnostics called the Logos. According to their teachings, in the beginning was not just the Word, but the living vibration that shaped the stars, formed the worlds, and breathed consciousness into form. Hidden schools across the ages, from the Essenes in Judea to the Sufis of Persia, from the Kabbalists of Spain to the Tantric mystics of India, all preserved this central truth in their own way. To speak is to create, to name is to become. And so, the angelic names, the divine words, mantras, invocations, are not external secrets locked in books. They are internal keys that unlock the resonance between your voice and the divine current within you. When uttered with awareness, breath, and purity, the sacred name transforms sound into light, and light into realization. You do not summon angels by name. You awaken the angelic within yourself through the name. And perhaps this is the greatest hidden truth. The true names of the divine were never lost. They were encoded into the human spirit itself. Every soul carries within it the sacred syllables of its origin, the divine vibration that called it into being. To remember that name is to awaken. The true power of sacred names cannot be grasped through intellect alone. It must be experienced. For thousands of years, mystics across civilizations have used sound and vibration to awaken higher states of consciousness. Their practices were not superstition, but technology of the spirit. Precise methods to attune one's energy field to the divine frequencies encoded within sound. Let us begin where all creation begins, with the breath. Breath is the invisible bridge between the physical and the spiritual. Before uttering any sacred name, the ancient initiates would still their bodies, focus their awareness upon their breath, and feel the rhythm of life itself moving through them. They knew, if breath carries life, then sound carries consciousness. Start with silence. Close your eyes and inhale slowly, feeling the rise of your chest as if drawing in cosmic light. Exhale, releasing all thought. When the breath becomes calm, let a single tone rise from within. A hum, a vibration. Don't speak it, become it. This is how the ancients approached the divine, not through speech, but resonance. Now, imagine uttering a sacred name, not as a word, but as a frequency that aligns your entire being. Whether it is Om, Amun, YHWH, or Lux Aeternum, do not focus on its letters. Feel the vibration it creates within you. As the sound flows, visualize golden light expanding from your heart, rippling outward like concentric waves across the universe. You will begin to notice that each sacred name has its own quality. Some evoke peace and stillness. Om, Shalom, Amen. Others ignite inner fire and transformation. Ra, Shiva, Michael. And some open portals of deep remembrance, frequencies that seem to awaken something ancient within your soul. This is not imagination, it is resonance. The same principle that causes a tuning fork to vibrate in sympathy applies to the human spirit. When you sound a sacred name, you vibrate in harmony with its archetypal energy. Over time, this practice refines the emotional body, clears mental noise, and reawakens dormant centers of perception. But there is a key to this practice: intention. Without conscious intention, sound is empty. With intention, it becomes divine. When you speak a sacred name, know why you are speaking it. Are you seeking clarity, protection, healing, illumination? Hold that intention not in the mind, but in the heart, for the heart is the true resonance chamber of the soul. In the Egyptian temples, priests were trained for years in this art. They learned the names of power, not from scrolls, but from direct experience, through vibration, breath, and alignment. Every word they spoke was sacred, for it carried the awareness that sound creates form. And so it is today. To apply this in modern life, you don't need temples or rituals. You need presence. When you speak, let your words carry vibration consciously. Speak truth, speak harmony, speak light, for every utterance shapes the geometry of your reality. If you wish to experiment more deeply, choose a sacred name that resonates with you, one that stirs something profound. Chant it daily in meditation. Feel its sound in your bones. Let it echo through your breath until silence itself begins to vibrate. Because the goal is not to call upon something outside of you. It is to remember that the sacred name has always lived within you, waiting to be spoken through the sound of your soul. Every great spiritual tradition has guarded one sacred truth, that sound is not merely how we communicate, it is how we create. And within sound lies the mystery of the sacred name, a vibration so pure, so alive, that to speak it with awareness is to touch the fabric of existence itself. The hidden truth about sacred names is not that they belong to distant gods, angels, or forces beyond us. It is that they are reflections of our own divine nature, echoes of the same creative word that brought the universe into being. When you speak a sacred name, you are not invoking something foreign. You are awakening the part of you that remembers. You are the voice through which the universe learns its own name. The ancients understood that to know the name of a thing was to know its essence, and to know the name of the divine was to remember that you were never separate from it. That is why the true purpose of sacred language was not worship. It was union. So when you chant, when you whisper divine syllables in the stillness of your room or beneath the stars, remember, you are tuning yourself to the same vibration that holds galaxies together. You are aligning your inner world with the music of creation. And in that harmony, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. Each sacred name, from Om to Amen, from I Am to Ra, from Sophia to Christos, is a doorway. And each time you cross it, you step closer to remembering what the mystics have always known, that the divine does not live in some faraway realm. It breathes within your very voice. So the next time you utter a sacred name, do not speak it as a word. Speak it as a prayer. Let it rise from your breath like a spark, from the eternal flame. For in that moment you are not calling out to the heavens, you are awakening the heavens within. The name is not outside you, it is you.